Here we are, live stream number 2. Okay, and why do we want to talk about flat Earth today? Let's just be honest. I want to talk about flat Earth today because my wife is watching another Hallmark movie. Yes, it's epidemic. Like, I could die down there, and so something has to be done. So let's go uncover the mysteries of the universe. Let's go talk about something intelligent. Okay. Of course, some of you are laughing. You're like, yeah, flat Earth, right? And well, not everybody thinks that's intelligent, but every once in a while they come out with a good point. We're going to talk about those couple of good points, and we're going to talk about all the crazy ones. Like I said, just because somebody believes in flat Earth does not mean they can't influence you. Remember, when I drew that little flower in one of my last videos there, that you can just accept the good that everybody does have, and if they believe something that you don't agree with or don't have a place for, just open a file in the filing cabinet of your head, and when more information comes, put stuff in there. And it may be that eventually that filing cabinet that file gets full enough that you have to take that out and assimilate that into your worldview. But don't close people off, okay? Because you don't know everything that there is to know. So you owe that to yourself as a mortal person, as a mortal being, to allow yourself to be open to knowledge. So, as you can see, kids have been drawing on the board. It is just a big drawing board, right? So, drew some bubble pictures for me. And they did not draw the NASA symbol here. So, NASA, by the way, if you've never seen me post on this before, you'll notice that it has two circles. It has the circle around the outside, and then it has the circle around the A and the S. Well, that's because A is the first letter of the alphabet, and S is the 19th letter of the alphabet. 119. And Divine Feminine, like I talked about in my Captain Marvel decode, sums to 911 also. And on the tail of her jet, the fin, the part that goes up like that on her jet, it had 119 on it. But it only showed for a few seconds. You really had to be looking. By the way, if anybody's out there, say hi so I know you're there. Okay? Write something. So you had to have been paying attention. 119. And Divine Feminine sums to 911. And that was about a super-powered woman. So if NASA has this clear connection to sacred geometry, how do we know what we can believe from them? What parts are they making up just completely due to sacred geometry, and what parts are actually true? It's hard to tell when they use these numbers and they never talk about it, because they're leaving a gap for those of us that can understand that they're using sacred geometry numbers to describe the measurements of the universe, but then they never tell us that they do that. Okay, so are they hiding that the measurements are sacred geometry, or are they using sacred geometry just to construct a false measurement in the universe? So how do we know? Frankly, I'm not sure. For instance, let's talk about some of the sacred geometry they use to describe the measurements of the universe. Okay. And if you've seen Marty Leeds, you've already seen this. Okay. So, this is old news to you. Well, bear with me. Okay. But We always use a septenary cipher for this kind of decode. Okay? It doesn't work with anything else because this is really the Bible decode for the most part. This is what's built into the Bible because it's based on the 7 days of the week. 6 days, rest on the seventh. You understand that? Okay. So anyway, so we got based on the septenary cipher, you got the 4-5, the 666. Yes, 666 is actually in the name of Jesus. 365, that's not a mistake. 365 days a year. Okay. They constructed the name like that in English to match these letters, these numbers. Okay. Okay, so add them up and you end up with 27 and 32. So then you take this out and you do an extra step, because if you just multiply these out like this, it doesn't work. Okay. But if you take 27 and write out 32, again, use the septenary cipher and find out all their numbers. Okay, 7, 4, 5, 1, 7, 2, 6, 5, 5, 5, 1. I got it all wrote down. Okay, 7, 2, 7, 4, 2. So no, it's not my memory doing this. Okay, add them all up. This number plus this number plus this number plus this number. 48 on this side, 45 on this time, 48 times 45, and then finally you end up with 2,160. Okay. And again, that's one of the 5 points on a pentagram. Okay, the 5. So remember, it's 2160. This is the formula for how you figure Jesus Christ is 2160. You can also look at it from the name of Yeshua. Okay, Yeshua and septenary, add the numbers together, or I'm going to just multiply the numbers together from Yeshua 25661 and you get 2160 with that. Okay, there's more than one way to do it. So, so let's erase this and draw the pentagram here. The pentagram has 5 points, and it starts with 360 at the top. It's just like a circle, 360 degrees in a circle. Then you have the 72, 144, the 216, which is what we're talking about right here, and the 288. Variant Illuminati equals 288, And of course, you've seen the 144,000 from Revelation, right? Not a coincidence, folks. By the way, Yahweh equals 1440. Okay. Yahweh, like this, because some of you want me to verify this, right? Yahweh, so 2, 1, 6, 4, 5, 2. Multiply each number times each number times each number, and you end up with 2160 down here. So we got Yahweh is another way of saying the same thing. So is Yeshua. Or no, or I'm sorry, this ends up being 144. I'm sorry, I'm getting my numbers backwards. So Yahweh is 144, Yeshua is 216. What are the chances they all come up like this? I mean, Jesus Christ, Yeshua, Yahweh. It's not possible, really. This is not. Well, also, this 216, okay, this is what NASA uses, and it says that's the width of our moon, 2,160 miles across. So you have to ask yourself, is it true? Or is it just part of their sacred geometry construct? How do we know? I don't know, honestly. I mean, I have theories about how maybe one of us could test it or something. But because my math skills are so poor that I don't have a way of being able to know if I'm even right that this would work. So I'd love for some really intelligent person to come out and explain to me whether or not my ideas would work. I've got an idea for just using the angles in a mirror And by the way, if this is laughable to you, what I'm about to show you, it may be laughable. Okay, so I'm telling you right now in advance that I might be totally off base. Okay, because like I said, I don't have great math skills or anything like that. But maybe it would work, maybe not. Okay, so let's say the moon's up here. Okay, we want to measure the size of the moon. So let's say we set a mirror down here on the ground. The mirror comes down and it reflects off of here. One thing we know about light is that it always bounces away from a mirror at the exact same angle that it hits the angle. So we got this coming up this way. We got this coming up this way. Okay, and obviously this isn't the scale. Okay, this is however many hundreds, thousands, millions, miles, whatever you believe. Okay, now this is me. Glasses, and I'll give myself some cool hair this time. Okay, this is me, and I'm 6 foot tall. We'll say my eyes are 6 foot tall. Guess my eyes would be a few inches shorter. Okay, now we've already made some triangles right here, right? Okay, we've got triangles here, here, here. This is a knowable distance. This could be a knowable distance. We could say 10 foot. I'm 6 foot tall. You can triangulate this. I think there's what, a squared, b squared, c squared, all that stuff. Flatfish. Hey, somebody's there. How you doing? Numbers can be made to do many things, none of which stand as proof of anything alone. We live in a geometric world. Yeah, well, that's what I'm trying to figure out. They can just use these numbers. They might be authentic and be just incredible proof of the creation, or maybe they're completely just fabricated numbers just to go with their sacred geometry. But I think if I have a triangle on this side, you can even extend these, to a point like this, and maybe this can give you accurate information. I don't know. See, I don't know enough. My math skills aren't powerful enough to know whether or not a test like this could tell you the width of the moon. But maybe it could. I'm not sure, because you have angles for this degree of light, this degree of light, this one, and I think maybe it worked. I don't know. So, but probably not. Controlled experimentation, which can't be used in uncontrolled environment. Okay, I'm not 100% sure I followed you there. What I understand about light is that light is an induction. Okay, it's like a wave. So the speed of light is not actually able to be determined. It depends on what it's going through. Obviously, it slows down through glass, it slows down through water, that sort of thing. So when they say there's a mirror on the moon and they can use that to, maybe it's true and they really did put it there. At this point in my life, I have no solid, definite reason to doubt any of that. I personally don't think the world's flat yet, because I don't have any solid proof that it is. And every time I hear the theories, they just sound ridiculous to me. Okay. So that was one idea I had about maybe how somebody with a little bit better math skills could possibly determine the width of the moon. I'd love somebody that knows more math to be able to tell me if it's true or not. But now I'm going to mention some of these arguments that I hear that are just silly. Okay, absolutely silly. I even heard Marty Leeds say this one time. I never felt the Earth move. I mean, listen, if you're going to do a flat Earth argument, drop that one. I mean, that's just the dumbest of the dumb one. That argument holds no water whatsoever. How is it even possible to feel movement when you're, even if you say a flea on a dog, a flea might even feel the dog moving, because we're much, it's like we're a germ on a dog. It's kind of more like the comparison in size. I mean, we're so insignificant. It's not like, the world moves a little and then, our head moves like it does if your car stops and your head keeps going. It's not going to be like that because, we're just so small in comparison to it. So we're going to move along with it. Our entire body is going to move along with it at basically the same rate. So if the world stopped spinning immediately, our heads wouldn't go forward, I don't think. See, all the facts based around light doesn't allow for massive distances and other factors. I'm not denying the science, just limiting it to our actual knowledge instead of assumptions. Allow for massive distances. Well, I don't know what facts you're talking about. I'm not saying you're right on or you're wrong. I just don't know what you're talking about. Could be right. I don't know. Let's see. So anyway, the never felt the earth move argument. That's just dumb. So they need to get rid of that argument. Just don't ever mention that one. Because, it just holds no weight at all. And sometimes we do feel the earth move. I mean, there's earthquakes, that kind of thing. Now, here's another one. I'm going to try to draw this one, okay? And this is one that bothers me because it's just another really, really stupid argument, okay? I'm sure there's a few good ones. I'll try to mention some of them, but this is not one of them again, okay? When you say that you see a hole in the clouds and you see the sun or the moonlight coming through the clouds, and that those angles of the clouds can tell you the distance away of the moon, and that it's not 200,000 miles or whatever. Let me try to explain how that's just dumb, okay? Let's say this is a cloud. Here's a little hole in the cloud, okay? You got, sunlight's basically coming down at every angle. But the thing about sunlight, no matter where it's coming down at, it's always spreading out like a wave. Every little part of it's doing that. Because it is a wave, okay? And what will happen is the sunlight will come through here and it's always spreading out. So it may be blocked here, but when it comes through here, it's just going to keep spreading out because this is over here, spreading out from over here, and it's going this way. And this over here is coming this way because it's coming down from such a bigger area, okay? So this, when it comes down through the hole, is just still going to be going this way. This is still going to be going this way. And so this wave function is just going to keep spreading out. In fact, if you had another cloud beneath that one with another hole in it, the light would just do it again. And each time this happened, it would look like the sun was right here, or the moon, because if you follow these lines, So that's an absolutely silly argument to be making as proof for your flat earth theory. I mean, it just holds no water again. Also, I was watching the flat earth video on Netflix where they wanted to test the rotation of the earth using a very powerful gyroscope. And their test came out that the world was round, completely opposite of what they wanted. And so they were disappointed, but instead they just okay, well, we'll just have to keep looking. Maybe might need to change, if the evidence isn't going your way, might need to change what you think there. Oh, let's see. Flatfish says laboratory experimentation is always controlled to eliminate factors that the real world doesn't. That the real world doesn't eliminate. Okay, laboratory experimentation is always controlled to eliminate factors that the real world doesn't eliminate. Well, yeah, that's true. If you want to fake results, that's what they would do. The closest visible star is 4 light years. The furthest is 4,000 light years. According to these figures, I don't know what parallax means. Between stars should be visible every single night due to rotation. I don't understand what you're saying there. So I can neither confirm nor deny that comment. So let's see. What else here? Okay, I have also heard that they will tell us that the spaceship will, a rocket will launch off and it'll fall down into the ocean. And so we think it just goes up and goes into outer space, but really they're just coming back down to Earth and they're landing in the ocean somewhere. Okay, except that a whole lot of people with their telescopes watch the shuttles come back into the atmosphere. And they're coming in a lot faster than you come in at airplane speeds. They'll zip across the sky because they're going a whole lot faster, you know. I had to ask those people to explain that. You know, what is when the shuttle comes back and it's glowing bright red, making a streak across the sky, what is that? You know? How are they faking that? Don't get me wrong, they could fake a moon landing. I think they could. It's possible they even had a lab or a movie studio or whatever you want to call it, and they were possibly enhancing certain parts of the moon mission or something to make better video or something. Who knows, you know? Or I don't know, but that in and of itself doesn't mean they didn't go. Another thing I try to figure out is if the moon is 30 miles across or whatever, what's causing the tides? Because, you know, we've always been told, at least, that the tides are an effect of gravity. My own personal theory is that, you know, feel free to agree or disagree, but I do think gravity exists, but it's a push in every direction at the same time. So, and what I think happens is when the moon comes between certain of those rays between the moon and the earth, it's blocking some of the gravity. And so when the tide goes up, what's actually happening is a release of some of that pressure between the two objects. So that's my theory on what's happening. So I want to see, you know, what's a good flat Earth theory for that is, well, I mean, we definitely see tides. Another silly theory that I hear the flat Earth people say that you know, it initially sounds like it holds water, but it really doesn't. And I'm not all face even used to say hold water, but it, you know, they say that water always finds its level. You know, like in a level, you know, the little air bubble will get right in the middle, or water in different tubes will always be level, and you can draw a straight line between them. Okay, so therefore you can't have an ocean on something that's round. Well, I have a theory too here. Okay, possibly on the lake it might be pretty flat, somewhat, because you might have a bowl-shaped lake. And just because maybe the entire world is round, it doesn't mean that every last little bit of it is round. They may have flat places on it, you know, so to speak. Now, so I could see that even having an effect on a small enough area, in a small enough lake, where a lake could even be flat. And like when they tested the laser at Lake Titicaca, I think it was, in Mexico, and it went further than the curvature of the Earth, that would be a very reasonable explanation that possibly in a small enough area that water is finding its level somewhat. Okay. But on something as big as the Earth, you know, every time it tries to level out, it's also being pushed in from outside by a more than sufficient force of gravity. So that's my theory anyway. Probably. Now, I don't have any real respect for those who want to control the narrative with in science that will not allow anybody else to, you know, like in public schools, like in colleges and universities, if you ask any questions, if you don't just regurgitate what they want to hear, then you will be punished, usually pretty quickly, right? I don't have any respect for those systems and those people, and I am thrilled to death when people ask questions. I don't like to berate anybody, definitely not. And I want to hear people ask questions. I do. I want the people that act like they're so smart to disprove it. I want to know why that laser light went across Titicaca farther than the curvature of the Earth. That's the only good point I've heard the flat Earth people make so far. But it also would be explained by, on a small enough level, the water is finding its level too. Now, if they wanted to prove it once and for all, get a really, really powerful laser and beam it across the ocean. But it's also, a laser doesn't stay in a perfectly straight line. It also spreads out because all light spreads out. So at what point is it spreading out from here and kind of coming around? Because everywhere light goes out, it's also spreading from that point. So does that mean it can follow a curve to some degree? Just like in the clouds, and it spreads out because it's a wave, It's not going out in lines, it's going out in waves. Because a light beam is an electromagnetic function, so the electric part of it is creating a magnetic part that's creating an electric part, and it just keeps going on from there. So that's why a part over here is also actually creating a wave that's going this way as it travels. So I think that it would prove it, but I honestly need to understand light better. Maybe no one understands light quite to the degree that we need to know that a laser beam shot from Africa to South America would prove that the world is flat. I still don't even know that it would prove it because I don't know whether or not a laser beam can stay focused that far, or that gravity doesn't affect light. We know gravity affects light according to mainstream science, okay, if you accept that theory. That's why, starlight behind the sun can be seen, I don't remember how it worked before or after or whatever, that it went past it, So, because apparently the light was going around the sun. So, also, and I know other people have asked this question, and honest to goodness, I do not like Marty Leeds' answer to it, okay? What causes the sun and the moon to move? And all he says is, I don't know. I mean, if it's not a big round ball, however many millions of miles away, much bigger than the Earth, well, what's causing it to go from one place to the next? There's got to be some sort of a propulsion system, and that doesn't make any sense. And I don't see somebody swinging it around on a string, like a yo-yo, the sun and the moon. I don't see jets on the back fire and making it move. And just saying I don't know is not sufficient for me. Another thing that he says that I feel is just a very, very insufficient answer is to say that it's possible that the moon is a projection. So I don't even understand that. That doesn't even make any logical sense to me whatsoever. Okay, because what does that? I put weird pictures in my head. Does that mean there's somebody behind the moon or something behind the moon with some sort of mechanical projection device, like an actual projector making a picture of the moon in the sky? I mean, I don't even get that. That doesn't even make sense. Are you saying that the dome of the Earth that you claim to exist is just a holographic machine and making all these lights up there? Kind of like in Star Trek that room that they have, the holodeck, where it's just projecting this false reality. I mean, that's pretty wild to think that, who knows? I mean, I can't verify it. I mean, I haven't been on a spaceship myself, right? So all I have is what other people show me and what I see on TV. But the biggest problem I have with NASA altogether is the fact that they believe everything is sacred geometry. I mean, when you take the numbers of Lord Jesus Christ in Greek, kurios, And let's see, Kurios, Asus, and Christos, which in the Greek cipher sums to 3168. Okay. And you take the, how does that work again? The 10. Okay, that ain't right. I'm getting my facts messed up here. Okay, hold on a second. You can tell I'm new to this. Okay. I don't have it all memorized yet. You take the sun, the width of the sun, okay, which is 864,000. There we go. And divide it by the width of the Earth and the Moon together. Is that what it is? No. Yeah. So this is the width of the sun, and it's also the, hold on. I'm so getting my facts mixed up now. I can't remember what numbers are which. I actually sat there for hours trying to memorize all this yesterday, but my brain just can't hold it all. I mean, I'm trying to memorize phi and pi and all this stuff. Well, let's see. The numbers for Lord Jesus Christ, I think, divided by the width of the Earth and the Moon together equals pi. I do know that. Okay. So whichever number the first one is. Okay. So I'll go back and double check it. But hey, Falcor 2, how you doing, man? Always like seeing what you put out there. It's pretty awesome. So how does NASA come up with sacred geometry for all these different distances in the heavens? And then I see clearly gematriated false articles like the two-headed, I don't think they called it two-headed. What they called the snowman thing, and it's an asteroid, that was supposed to be coming through. And then one of them was called a pink dwarf or something like that. And I was talking to my brother about it, and I said the numbers on that have something to do with some sort of transvestite, because it was all about the numbers of what they called that asteroid and everything were very similar to the numbers with tranny and all this stuff. I said something happened in the news today to do with transvestites. I said I guarantee it. I said let's look and see. Then I get online, and sure enough, one of the I look on the Fox News, I think it was, and one of the first stories was transvestite walks the aisle in a beauty pageant. It's like, see, I told you. They're just using heavenly the sacred geometry, these numbers, this demonstrated false reality to tell a baloney story. But at the same time, why are they doing that? Because I do believe the world's round. I definitely think that my eyes aren't deceiving me and the moon's really there. I don't think it's a holographic projection, and that sort of thinking just doesn't make any sense to me. So, but I can't put together why they would do the things that they do. Another thing is when Marty Lee was talking about how the he was that billionaire guy, and he launched, I can see his face, but I can't think of his name, the Virgin Mobile guy. Well, he launched that spaceship up, and it was using a whole lot of sacred geometry and a whole lot of, the dragon and all this. And clearly he was telling a story, an occultic message behind what he was doing. But I don't think that means that it wasn't there or that he didn't do it. I just think he was doing it and telling a message. So is that what NASA is doing as well? Those are big questions. I honestly don't have all the answers, and I wish I did. I hate not knowing answers. Like, it drives me crazy. Like, when I don't know something, it'll just eat at me. And this may eat at me for years until I find the answers. But other things have too, But that's the way it is. So let's see. I think I've gone through. Anybody else have any other points they'd like to make there before I hang it up? Because think I pretty much said all the points that I was planning to make. Light spreading through the holes in the clouds is no different. Yeah. Never felt the earth move. That's a ridiculous argument. Let's see. Yeah, where's the spaceship? Is it? Yeah, we see space shuttles coming in all the time. You know, if the moon's a projection, you know, why can't we just see it in a regular telescope? And why are there? You know, we can see the craters on it. You know, we've seen things hit it before. Yeah, in our lifetimes, we've seen asteroids hit the moon. I mean, it's not just a projection; it's also a simulation. Apparently, if that's what they truly believe, you know. So yeah, I see that they're using the sacred geometry. I see that they're using the false reality to describe the heavens, but I don't know why. So let's see. Let me read some comments here. It's hard to explain in chat. Look in the parallax from a moving vehicle of different distant objects. Okay, Flatfish, I will try to figure out what you're talking about there. And Falker says, love when flat earthers say you can't see the moon and the sun in the sky at the same time on a globe. I didn't even know they said that, because obviously we see the sun and the moon at the same time all the time. So I don't really understand why they would say that. See, so and Kohina says it seems to be pretty well established that flat Earth is used as a way to provide evidence of God. But I would like to hear why a Christian cannot also accept a globe Earth. Yeah, well, Kohina, in my experience in life is that probably 95 to 99% of Christians do believe in a globe Earth. I say the flat Earth philosophy is in the minds of a very limited number of people at this point. Seems to be growing. And I understand why, because NASA's using this sacred geometry for numbers and not telling us, even though we can put it together that they're obviously using these numbers. But they never attempt to explain that, you know? Christ, all these mathematical concepts and gematria concepts that existed thousands of years before NASA, at least hundreds of years before NASA ever existed. And now you're saying that the moon is also those same mathematical numbers and concepts and gematria principles. I mean, is that even possible? You know? So why are they using those numbers if they're not true? And if they are true, why aren't they talking about it more and just proving to us that it really are the real? Because that is amazing to me. If that's true, I mean, talk about the ultimate proof of, you know, everything in the Bible is matching everything in the heavens. That is remarkable, and I want that to be true. I really do. So, but is it? That's the question. Is it true? So, well, guys, this is only the second live stream I've done. Probably a little rambling, and it was just kind of off the cuff. I just jumped in here because, you know, my wife's watching Hallmark, and you know, I mean, I could have died down there. So this is much better use of my time. So, but thanks, Flatfish and Falcor 2 and Kohina. Appreciate you guys tuning in, and thanks for watching. So please like, share, and subscribe.